So now we start Gita from this second chapter, starting verse number 54. The 54th verse is a question, and the discussion begins from 55th. Next 18 verses, that is 55 to 72, this is heartbeat of Hindu socio-religious system. Not the Hindu philosophy, not the Hindu spiritual philosophy, but the Hindu society as such. In the sense that how a Hindu is supposed to behave and why he is to behave that way. What has to be the basis of the way of life? In one word, being great. Whom do we call a great person? And why they are great? And how we ourselves can be great? This is the issue discussed here. Now, before we get down to this discussion, first we need to understand the very basis of, say, greatness or growth, evolution, whatever you might say. As you all know, the most popular theory of human beings today comes from Darwin's evolutionary theory, according to which we were apes and we continue to have genes, more than 98-99%, which are common with apes, which is a fact. We don't know how exactly it happened. Biologists say that it's an evolutionary process. Religious people, they don't want to go into the nitty-gritties of all this. They say that it's all God's will. That's not important. But when we look at human race, we find that there are people who behave like savages. And there are people who behave like gentlemen. And then there are people who behave like saint. And we are told that there are people who are God-like, not saint. They are God. So Jesus and Buddha and Sri Ramakrishna, these people are seen absolutely differently. We call them God. And then we have saints, and then we have gentlemen, and we have ordinary people, struggling people, and finally we have savages, savage-like people who are interested only in their self-satisfaction. They want everything for themselves. They want wealth of the world to be with them. They want enjoyment of the world to be with them, etc. Once you can come out of that mentality, once you can outgrow your savage nature, you become a man. Man in true sense. Simply because you have the genes that make you appear like a man doesn't make you a man. To be a man means to have some values. To be a man means to have some character. And when we talk about character, we mean some kind of inclusiveness. That means you must be in a position to give space to others too. Now when it comes to ideas like character, we enter into the realm of values, we enter in the realm of ethics. Now what is the basis of ethics? First thing, what should be the basis of ethics? If you chance to read the history of ethics, if you chance to read the history of Western civilization, say in the last 200 years, particularly after French Revolution. Once there was French Revolution, there was some kind of, you can say, a wave that changed the very thinking of human race. They became rational. They wanted to bring rationality in everything. They wanted rationality in science. They wanted rationality in thinking. They wanted rationality in everything. And you will be surprised to know that this kind of rationality has resulted in a lot of retardation even in the field of science. And it was only when persons like Einstein came on the field that finally the kind of rationality that was being practiced in the Western world since French Revolution changed. Now, some people started defining ethics and values in their ways because they wanted to have nothing to do with religion. No God, no Bible, and of course when it comes to Hindu religion, they didn't even know, most of them didn't even know that a religion like Hinduism exists, and that there was this Muslim world that was kind of cut off from them. They knew about the Muslims, but they were not interested. Now, when you look at the history of ethics, we find that there were some great lawgivers who said that to do this is right and not to do that is wrong. And then we come across books like Bible, books like Quran, where it says that God has ordained that this be right, and hence this is right. And suddenly came these rationalists, they said nothing to do with religion. Now how do you define goodness? So they came up with strange theories, some of them being that which does maximum good to maximum number of people. What a stupid idea. I exist for myself. Once I am dead, I am dead. There is nothing left for me. Why should I care for whether others live or don't live? How can that be basis of ethics? If I die, for example, that famous saying by the American president, don't think what the country has done for you, think what you have done for the country. Why should I bother about the country? My existence is meant for my existence. I will first think for myself, unless there is some philosophical basis, some truth behind my existence, which is more powerful than the country. See, today, when you look around at the world, you find things going wrong everywhere. You look at the newspaper and you feel as if everybody is killing everybody else in the streets, although that's not really true. Last some days we find all the wrong news coming from the media about the country. Some kind of molestation, some kind of killing, this, that. It hurts badly. And if you read the world news, you find things going wrong everywhere. Why? Because you see, there was a basis of ethics based on religion, based on God, that regulated the life of a common man. That has been taken away. And suddenly came the rationalists who gave some strange ideas about doing maximum good to maximum number of people. Well, somebody would say that the maximum good for maximum people would be for them not to bear the suffering of this world. So let us kill them, as Hitler did. Life is a misery. So let people get out of misery. Kill them. What kind of ethics is this? Is this ethics? Can you call it ethics? But coming back to the original question, the rationalistic idea of ethics is, I don't know, I find it funny. Persons like John Stuart Mill and others, they gave such strange ideas about ethics. And no wonder that Western civilization collapsed as far as ethics and morality is concerned. There might have been 1, 2, 3 greats. Yes, must be. Because a society survives only because there are some morally great people in that society. And depending on the number of great people that you have in a society, the society will be that much greater. So there must be. And why they are ethical, we don't know. It might be their inner urges that make them ethical. When it comes to Hindu religion, when it comes to India, we don't go by rationalism. We don't even go by the words of scriptures. Normally it's said that Hindus follow the Vedas and Hindus follow Gita. No, we don't. We follow only one thing, and that is truth. The very basis of Hindu religion, the very basis of Hindu ethics, the very basis of Hindu civil code, the very basis of Hindu society, and everything that you call Hindu is based on plain and plainest of truth, and the truth that can be realized not by one, not by two, but by each and every person. If people are going to follow the Bible, say Old Testament, is the realization of some people. New Testament is the realization of some people. Quran is the realization of some person, one single person, or whatever religion you are going to follow. Hinduism doesn't follow this pattern. It just says that, well, truth is this. Go realize for yourself. And once you accept, yes, this is true, it will have corollaries. And those corollaries will be applicable in the Hindu society, will be applicable in Hindu ethics, Hindu morality, etc., etc. So, to be great, as we discussed, means to be moral. That means getting out of your basic nature. We have, some base character within ourselves. We like to live like animals. We want everything for ourselves. How to curb that? How to be a man? How to be a gentleman? How to be a saint? How to be a prophet? By curbing your basic instincts. How do you curb it? You curb it by keeping the huge magnet of truth before you. If there is a huge magnet of truth, it will pull all the iron towards itself. The noble that's within me, the good that's within me, will automatically be pulled towards the truth. And what's that truth? Says, God alone exists. And if you don't want to accept God, perfectly all right. If you take the yoga standpoint, or if you take the Islamic standpoint, or if you take the Christian standpoint, you find that whatever truth you may say, this world is not the ultimate truth. Now this is what Gita has been talking, starting second chapter up to say verse number 53. And now suddenly we find Arjuna is okay. I mean, he likes, he has loved whatever Sri Krishna was telling, and Arjuna had moved around the country a lot. He had been with sages. He had basic knowledge about Hindu religion. Of course, the Hindu term was not there at the time. So when he is hearing all these great words like Atman alone exists, more importantly, equanimity of mind. So he questions, who is a great person? How to be great? The technical term used in Gita is Sthita Pragya, man with steady mind. Of course, it's a very common thing, and we all know. More steady mind you have, more powerful you are. A child has a restless mind. A monkey has a restless mind. And when we train up the child, we train up that boy to be calm, to settle down. And when you grow further up, you find that you're taught concentration. When you go for a class, you're taught concentration. The teacher asks you to focus. When you are having physical exercises, when you are having regulated play, games, your mind is being trained into a pattern. When you go to military services, police services, they train you. They train your mind to be focused and alert. So the more focused you are, the more alert you are, your capability increases. Life is all about focusing your mind more and more. And a time comes, mind is so focused that mind doesn't have the slightest ripple, as if. If you compare mind with a lake, and if you can imagine, like yesterday we had this storm, there's a tempest, and that lake water is full of choppy waves, and water is as if boiling. The mind of most of us is in that state of turbulence. And when everything is calm, the lake becomes calm. It's a different state of existence. The yogis, who are the greatest of these human beings, their mind is as calm as that of an absolute calm lake, where there is, forget about waves, there is not even a ripple. It's all calm, like a sheet of glass. Arjuna asks, how to know these kind of people who are great? How would I know that this person has a steady mind? How to know, how to realize greatness? How do I know that this person is great? Because greatness in Hinduism is directly related to calmness of mind. Anything that disturbs your mind is a bad thing. Anything that calms your mind is a good thing. The behavior of the noble, by noble I mean the man whose mind is calm, is considered to be the standard behavior that becomes the basis of ethics, not because they have done it, but because these flow out directly as corollaries to the fundamental truth which we will be discussing here. When the mind becomes calm, what do you perceive? How do you perceive the world? Depending on how you perceive the world, for example, there is a small baby, 4 or 5 year old. It feels that it has to acquire the entire world. If you get any chocolate, it wants it for himself. If you get some toys, it wants it for himself. And it wants the attention of the entire world for itself. Everything for himself. Because for him, he is there in this world, he has come to take it. As he grows, his worldview keeps changing. And as his worldview changes, his behavior changes. When he is a small baby, he can behave in any way that he likes with the guests that come. But when he grows a little, he goes to the school, he knows he has to behave in a decent way with the teacher. And this training goes on and on. So depending on your worldview, your behavior changes. Here the question is, the man whose mind has become steady, whose mind has become calm, that means his worldview has changed. He sees world in a different way. What kind of behavior they practice? Because what they practice is the model conduct for others. Why? See, there are two important things here. One is, whenever we have some kind of problem in life, we try to solve that problem with the existing instruments that we have. Unfortunately, it's like cleaning the floor with a dirty mop. You have got a dirty mop and you are trying to clean the floor. That dirty mop is not going to clean your floor. It will just move dirt from one place to another place. The way you need a clean piece of cloth, clean piece of mop to clean up a room, just like that we need higher outlook of the world to clean up our mess. The mental mess in which we are, the social mess, the personal mess, the mental mess, the kind of mess that we are in, we need a higher approach to it. We need to go a little higher and then look down upon our problems, then the problems will get sorted out automatically. The mess in which Arjuna is here and the mess in which we are, these mess can be cleared only when you look at it from the aspect of the greats who have reached that level for whom the world has become all calm, where he has nothing to lose where he has nothing to gain from the world and where he has nothing to lose in the world. He's great. He's a saint. He's just great. We also want to be great. Somewhere all of us want to be great. See, under normal conditions we want to acquire. But there are moments when we also want to be great. So you have to emulate great people. Somebody who wants to be a cricketer, he has to emulate great cricketers. Somebody who wants to create wealth, he has to emulate persons who have created wealth. Similarly, if you want greatness within yourself, you have to emulate those great people. And here, as we have been mentioning repeatedly, greatness is defined by one simple truth, whose worldview has changed from being a turbulent mind to a calm mind. Sthita pragya. So this is the first idea, that you have to solve issues from a higher level. And second is, when we emulate, as we just mentioned about cricketers and footballers, when we emulate, slowly, by practicing things which we don't mean, really we don't mean, slowly our mind changes. If you mean, your change will be rapid. And if you don't mean, the change will be slow. Nevertheless, the change will be there. To give you an example, during war times or even under normal conditions, sometimes you'll find that a village boy who has been pretty rowdy joins army. And army requires tremendous training. Training to die, not only to kill, to die. When the commander says go, face the bullet, he goes and faces bullet. He doesn't hesitate. Even if he is scared for his life, he goes and faces it. It's a wonder how somebody who never had any kind of mental training, who loved being wild, who loved being a free-spirited person, goes to that level just by making them do left, right, left, right, left, right parade. For hours they are made to parade. For hours they are made to pick up their weapon, aim, shoot. That is through physical training. Through physical training, the mind gets trained so highly that when the time comes, the mind orders the body to do something and the body does it. Just like that. These greats, howsoever they reach that level of equanimity of mind, calmness of mind, and because of that their behavior becomes of a certain way. When we try to practice those things, slowly our mind also starts getting changed and we start getting modeled after them. The ways of the great, when practiced, takes us on the path of greatness. If you do it willingly, if you do it lovingly, with fullest of intent, your growth is fast. If you are doing unwillingly, not committedly, growth will always be there, but a little less. So, with this introduction, we begin our discussion on this chapter. Sthita pragyasya ka bhasha samadhistasya kesava sthitadhi kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim. These men of steady wisdom, these great people, how they behave, how they talk, how they walk, when they are in meditation, what they perceive, and when they are interacting with the society, how they behave. So, this is the basic question, and somewhere Arjuna as if wants to ask, do these spiritual greats talk worldly things? Do they have these ideas of seeking out or avoiding things? We seek out things that we love. We avoid things that we abhor. Before we continue with the Lord's answer, here we have a question that says that they have been studying this section and they feel that the description here is of the highest level and it seems difficult to practice it. How to practice it in smaller quantity? See, this is one problem that we are facing every day, everywhere. We are always trying to find out easy way out. This made easy, that made easy, that made easy. But we forget that life is not an easy thing. Growing up is not an easy thing. Marriage is not easy thing. Maintaining things is not easy thing. And death itself is not an easy thing. Everything is difficult in the life, and yet we want everything made easy. We want fast food. We want Coke for drink. We want instant things. No, it's not that. Number one, things are difficult, and if you want to grow, one has to take the difficult path. This is number one. Number two, what Gita does is, it places before you the ideal. And these ideals are not binary. Binary in the sense it's not 1 and 0. Either you have 1 or you have 0. It's not like that. In computers, it's a very simple thing. It's either 0 or it is 1. Either electron is there or electron is not there. That means either you have it or you don't have it. When you die, according to most religions, either you go to the heaven or you go to the hell. No, Hinduism doesn't go that way. For us, this kind of quantum reality is not a fact. For us, it's the continuous reality. Depending on how much you practice, you will grow that much. If the reality is binary, see, the problem with us is that the theory with which we are familiar, we try to put every other thing in that theory. Now today, because we know how computers work, we say that everything is binary, it's either 1 or it is 0. It's either white or it's black. No, for us life doesn't run like that. Okay, then there are some, like as they have in structure of atom, you have this orbit and this orbit. No, not even that. For us, it's a smooth, absolutely continuous process. Depending on how much you practice, that much you will grow. And as we crossed in one of the verses, Karma Yoga, Swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mato bhayat. Even if you practice a little bit of it, the great fear of life will go away. And neha bhi kramana nashosti pratyavayo na vidyate. If you have practiced something, not that it will slowly wither away. And if you don't practice it, you will not incur sin. So, when you listen to these verses, the greatest of ideals, the little that you can practice it will make you feel great. You will feel happy within, it will give you a feel-good factor. Okay, fine, I have practiced this much. So, I think that should satisfy you. So, it's not about that I couldn't practice so I live. No, as much as you practice, that much you will grow. So, don't worry. So, it says, what is the basis of greatness? Renunciation, giving up. Entire Hindu religion is based on one single simple truth. Renunciation, unselfishness. Unselfishness. In my book, Carving a Sky, in my book, Living Hinduism, I have discussed about inclusiveness. Inclusiveness is born when you try to get out of your own self and try to take in more and more and more people. A child, a baby, he's highly exclusive. He wants everything for himself. And that very child, when he grows up to be a grandfather, grandmother, he becomes more and more inclusive. And when he becomes a saint, he becomes much more inclusive. How? That self-centeredness goes away. This going away of self-centeredness basically means the desires that are lurking within us, they go down. If you want to define a human being, the easiest and surest way of defining a human being is, he is a bundle of desires. We are all bundle of desires. Religion and spirituality means to get out of these desires. All our values, all our ethics, the Hindu society itself and everything of the Hindu society is based on this fundamental truth of existence, unselfishness. If you look at Manu Smriti, you will find that the entire process, all the rules and all the codes that Manu is prescribing is trying to make one unselfish. Whenever you read anything in Hindu religion, you find that it is leading you towards unselfishness. When you do sadhana, it tries to take you towards unselfishness. Unselfishness is the master key that opens the every secret of Hindu religion and society. If you do not understand why Hindus do it, just apply the key of unselfishness and you will understand. It just tries to make you unselfish, nothing else. God's command is not there, Prophet's command is not there, saints' words do not matter there. It's just one golden rule, unselfishness. What we are discussing here is centered at unselfishness. Prayahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan atmanyevatmana tushta sthita pragyas tadochyate. When all the desires fall away from the mind, it doesn't have any more desires left. And he is happy with himself. That's what a great man is. Whom do we call great? Who is a Mahatman? Why Gandhiji was called Mahatma Gandhi? Because desires had fallen away from his mind. Is why we don't call Buddha Mahatma? Because he is beyond that, he is prophet. Just below that are Mahatma. Who are these Mahatmas? Who are the greatest Mahatma? From whose minds desires have fallen away. Depending on how few desires are left in your mind, you are that much great. Gandhiji had just one desire left, to serve the nation in his own way. So he was great. Netaji was great. Why? He wanted to serve the nation. So why these people are great? Because they have just few desires left. But we are ordinary people. We are a huge bundle of desires. And that's why we end up being ordinary people. So it says that even if you pose to be unselfish, that will not make you great. Desires have to go away from your mind. So when a doctor says that he is there to serve the patients, but mentally he wants to make money out of it, that doesn't make him a Mahatma. And we instinctively know that this doctor really wants to serve the patient. Somehow, it's within, it's the power to understand the inside of a man is instinctive with us. We can feel that this person is a great person. Why? How do we feel? Because desires have fallen away from his mind. And second, of course, Gita is not an ethical work, it's not a moral work, it's a spiritual work. So it adds the important point here that says, Atmanyevatmana tushtaha. He stays happy with himself. See what happens? Even a mad person, one who is insane, he doesn't have any desire in him. And if you take drugs, your mind goes in that state of stupor where you don't have any desire left. You are anesthetized. You are in coma. You don't have any desires. We are not discussing that state. This is made very clear. If you take cannabis, if you take grass and marijuana and things like that, and you're in that state where you say that, okay, I don't want anything. No. Because once you come out of that state, the desires will take hold of you. And here it says not only that, even when there are no desires left in your mind will be absorbed with your own superconscious self. For you, if God realization is the goal, if you are focused on, say, Lord Shiva, your mind will be so focused in Lord Shiva, all other desires will fall away. In the world, you can see how when a wife really loves her husband, passionately, totally, committedly, she thinks only of her husband. If she cooks food, she thinks of her husband. If she prepares room, she prepares it for her husband. Everything she does is for her husband. Here it is for the superconscious self. Here it is for God. And God is not an ordinary being. It's not a worldly thing. It's not a worldly being. So, the important criteria is that first, your number of desires should go down, and not forcibly. Number of desires should go down because you have a huge ideal before you. For a spiritual person, that huge ideal is to stay established in that state of super consciousness where he knows himself to be the self. If he is a devotee devoted to some ideal, some God, his mind should be absorbed in the thought of God. He would be so absorbed that all other thoughts go away. And of course, this is the highest, absolutely high state of existence. At a more practical level, because we don't know whether a person is lost in stupor. There is that famous story of King Parikshit in Bhagavata. He was into hunting and he was thirsty, and he reached the hermitage of a sage, and there the sage was lost in meditation. And Parikshit, although he was the grandson of Arjuna and his life had been saved by Sri Krishna himself, he thought that this sage is just posing. He is posing to be meditating. So he put a dead snake around the neck of that sage. And then that sage's son cursed Parikshit. So, how do we know if you are just pretending to be meditating? How do we know you are not drugged? How do we know that you are not in coma? How do we know that you are really meditating? There is no way to know. Only you can know. But we can know you through your behavior, external behavior. And that comes in next verse, 56. Dukkeshu anudvignamana sukheshu vigataspriya vita raga bhaya krodha stitadhir muni ruchyate. Whom do you call stitadhi? Man with steady wisdom, whose mind is totally under control, says, when sorrow comes, when pain comes to him, he is not perturbed. When something good comes to him, he doesn't become excited. And attachment, fear, anger, these things hold nothing for him. They cannot hold him back. So basically, two outcomes of dukha and sukha. Dukha is sorrow. Sorrow is when you lose something. Sukha is when you get something. Losing something and gaining something comes through attachment, through fear, through anger, etc. These are the inner states of mind, and the external manifestation that comes is through dukha and sukha. So it says, even a sage, even a great person, he has to face bad times. Jesus was crucified. How worse it can be? Sri Ramakrishna had cancer, and Sri Ramakrishna had nothing to eat in his last days, and we call him incarnation of God. And Sri Ramachandra, his wife was kidnapped. So wherever you find these great people suffering a lot. So what happens to them? Says, they suffer, but they don't go wild out of this situation. What does a common man does? Whenever he meets sorrow, he gets so perturbed, he goes running around. He goes to this temple, and he goes to that sage, and he goes to this person, and he goes to that person, struggling to come out of that pain. So one commentator has written very interestingly that pain will come on its own. It's in the nature of things to cause you pain. Now by running around, you increase your pain. Same with joy, happiness. It comes on its own. You have done something good in the past, and as a consequence of that, you get something good. And suddenly you become overexcited. I am so lucky, I am so fortunate. Who is there like me? See, nowadays this younger generation, particularly in India, they have become super rich without struggling for anything. There is a sudden vacuum in the world, mostly because of the IT industry. Not many people are trained in IT sector. the elder generation that really works, they have no idea about IT. And the younger ones are not yet trained. So the total number of people available to do that work is very few, and the demand is huge. So they are getting huge pay packages. Particularly 5 years ago, everybody was going into IT sector simply because there was a vacuum and people were being paid. And the kind of behavior that these young people had was just abominable. Suddenly, they did not deserve. See, only if they were born only 20 years ago, most of them would have ended up being ordinary clerks or school teachers. And suddenly they were earning in millions. They were not ready for it. They might have done some karma, and there is that collective karma of the world. There was a sudden vacuum, and suddenly there was a huge windfall. And they started thinking, Duniya meri mutti mein, this world is in my palm, and I will crush it. Should see their arrogance, should see the kind of behavior they had. And see, finally that phase is over, and now slowly things are getting into equilibrium, and now we have a president of this country and that country putting this restriction and that restriction, and we are cursing, and you can't. This is how life goes. Good and bad come on its own. If you are foolish enough to get sucked, you will suffer further. What a wise man does a man whose desires have fallen away, a man who is really great, he knows bad times have come on their own. And when good times come, he knows they have come on their own. Let us not be perturbed. Let's not get excited. Let me go on doing my duty. You asked me what I should do as a common man. Hold on to your duty. And what should a great man do? He will also hold on to his ideal, but not as duty, because he is not established in the love of God. He is not established in the knowledge of the self. So he stays established there. He is lost in his own joy of perceiving God everywhere. For us, for we ordinary people, our ideal is to perform our duty well without bothering for the success or failure of it. And the success and failure cause fear, anger, attachment, and its consequent result is sorrow, joy, etc. Be true to your duty. Be true to what you are doing. And why do that? Because we find that the truly great, those who are worshipped in the society as great, and those whose greatness makes the society move, those people, they stay calm. They are not struggling to be calm. Their personality has become so heavy that the blows of good and bad cannot make them swing. If you have hut for a home and a storm hits, it will be blown away. But if you have a real strong house built of cement and iron, storm can do nothing to it. The superstructure of your emotion, the superstructure of your emotional world, it has to be powerful, it has to be strong, that when the storm of anger, the storm of rage, the storm of fear, etc. come, it should start swaying. How to stop it from swaying? Hold on to your duty. Just know that I am here to do this. Keep doing it. Don't worry about good. Don't worry about bad. Don't try to hold on to the good, because it will not stay, it will go away. And don't worry about bad, because even that will not stay. Don't be depressive. Don't be suicidal. Don't think that everything is lost. Nothing is lost. Because in a day, things will change. Don't get too elated when good things come, because even that will go away. Just hold on to your path to be great. If you really want to be great, this is the first step. And verse number 57 onwards, we will discuss in the next class. So today we end here. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.